The city lights of New York flickered through the rain-streaked windows of Adam Walker's apartment. The storm outside mirrored the storm within him, restless, turbulent, and unrelenting. The walls of his one-bedroom space felt suffocating, the silence deafening. His laptop sat open on the kitchen table, an email staring back at him. "We regret to inform you that we have chosen another candidate for this role. We encourage you to apply again in the future." It was the fourth rejection this month. Adam exhaled sharply, rubbing his temples. At 32, his life was not supposed to be like this. He had followed the rules, graduated college, landed a corporate job, and worked tirelessly for a decade. But after company downsizing, he was left jobless, drowning in bills, and questioning everything. He picked up his phone, scrolling mindlessly through social media. Everyone else seemed to be thriving, engagements, promotions, vacations, while he felt stuck in an endless loop of frustration and self-doubt. "What am I even doing with my life?" he muttered under his breath. His thoughts were interrupted by a loud thud. Turning his head, he saw a book had fallen off the shelf. He frowned. He hadn't touched that shelf in months. Walking over, he picked it up and turned it over in his hands. Passion Struck: 12 Powerful Principles to Unlock Your Purpose and Ignite Your Most Intentional Life by John R. Miles. He scoffed. Self-help books, a bunch of motivational fluff, right? But something about the title made him pause. Passion Struck. Curiosity got the best of him. He sank into the couch, flipping the cover open. As he skimmed the pages, a sentence caught his eye. "Are you living a life of quiet desperation, merely surviving instead of thriving?" His throat tightened. It was as if the book was speaking directly to him. He kept reading. Adam's childhood had been ordinary: middle-class family, supportive parents, decent grades. He had always been a dreamer, sketching ideas for businesses in his notebook, fascinated by how successful people built empires from nothing. But somewhere along the way, society's expectations took over. Get a degree, get a job, get stability. Passion was for artists and risk-takers, not practical people like him. So he buried his dreams and followed the safest path. And now, here he was, jobless, unfulfilled, and completely lost. He flipped to another chapter. The opposite of joy isn't sadness, it's the absence of purpose. The most successful people don't chase money. They chase meaning. Adam put the book down, staring at the ceiling. Maybe that was his problem. He had spent his entire life chasing the wrong thing. The next morning, he woke up with a strange feeling. It wasn't hope, not yet, but it was something close. A whisper of possibility. Over the next week, Adam devoured the book, underlining passages, scribbling notes in the margins. One chapter stood out. Fear Confronter, realizing that you are your biggest competitor. What if the only thing standing between you and success is your fear of failing? The book asked. Adam had never considered that before. He had always blamed circumstances, bad economy, unfair job market, luck. But what if the real obstacle was him? What if his fear of stepping out of his comfort zone had kept him trapped all these years? He thought back to his childhood dreams, starting his own business, creating something meaningful. But each time he had tried, doubts had drowned him. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? But now, after everything, failure didn't seem as terrifying as staying stuck forever. The next morning, he opened his laptop, but instead of job applications, he typed into Google, "How to start an online business." And just like that, a new chapter of his life had begun. Adam sat at his desk, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. The search results on his screen overwhelmed him. How to Start an Online Business had generated millions of articles, videos, and guides. He clicked on a few, but they all seemed either too generic or overly complicated. Frustration bubbled up. Where do I even begin? He thought back to Passion Struck. One of the core lessons had been about clarity, defining what truly matters before taking action. He grabbed his notebook and wrote at the top of the page, "What am I passionate about?" Silence. For years, he had ignored that question. He had worked jobs that paid the bills, followed a path that felt responsible, but nothing had ever ignited him. What was it that made him feel alive? He closed his eyes and thought back to childhood. The memory came fast. His younger self, sitting at his dad's desk, playing with old receipts, pretending to run a company. He had always been fascinated by entrepreneurship, by the thrill of building something from scratch. But what kind of business? His mind wandered to his struggles, the job rejections, the loss of purpose, the endless self-doubt. Then, like a lightning bolt, it hit him. What if he built something that helped people like him? People who felt lost, people who wanted to break free but didn't know how. His heart pounded. This idea, it felt right. But then the doubt crept in. You have no experience, no money, no connections. Who would even listen to you? He took a deep breath, flipping back to one of his underlined passages. Passion without action is just a daydream. The only way forward is through movement. That was it. He had spent years trapped in his head, waiting for confidence, waiting for certainty, but waiting had gotten him nowhere. It was time to act. Over the next few days, Adam immersed himself in research. He read about digital marketing, online coaching, and content creation. He learned about freelancing, personal branding, and how people were turning knowledge into businesses. And then came the biggest challenge, putting himself out there. His idea was simple: a website and a YouTube channel where he would document his journey, his struggles, his lessons, and the insights he gained from books like Passion Struck. He wanted to build a community of people who, like him, were searching for meaning and direction. His hands trembled as he recorded his first video. The camera stared back, unblinking. Hey guys, I don't know if anyone will watch this, but if you've ever felt lost in life, like you were meant for something more but didn't know where to start, then you're not alone. I've felt like that for years, but I'm finally trying to change that. This is my journey, and maybe, just maybe, it can help you too. He hit upload before he could talk himself out of it. That night, he barely slept, his mind racing with what-ifs. What if people laughed at him? What if no one cared? But when he woke up the next morning, he had 47 views and 3 comments. One of them simply read, "Man, I feel the same way. Keep going." Adam stared at the words, feeling something stir deep inside him. For the first time in years, he felt like he was on the right path. And he wasn't alone. Adam's video had barely 50 views, but to him, it felt like 1,000,000. Someone had connected with his message. Someone out there felt the same way he did. That night, as he lay in bed, he flipped through Passion Struck again, searching for guidance. He landed on a section titled "The Physics of Progress." Small steps, repeated consistently, lead to massive breakthroughs. Success isn't about giant leaps. It's about momentum. Momentum. He sat up, grabbed his notebook, and wrote, "Post 1 video a week. Write 1 blog post. Keep going." It wasn't a grand strategy, but it was something. And something was better than nothing. The next morning, he filmed his second video. "Last week, I uploaded my first video. It scared the hell out of me, but I learned something. Fear doesn't go away. You just have to act despite it. Today, I want to talk about the first step in getting unstuck." With each video, Adam grew more confident. His delivery improved, his message became clearer, and slowly, more people started watching. At first, it was just a few dozen, then a few hundred. Then, one morning, he woke up to 1,200 views on a single video. His inbox had messages from strangers. "Dude, this really hit me. I feel stuck in my job. How do I figure out what I want to do? I just quit my job and have no idea what's next. Your videos are helping." Adam sat back, overwhelmed. People were listening. People needed this. And for the first time, he realized he wasn't just documenting a journey anymore. He was leading one. Success, as Adam was quickly learning, wasn't a straight line. For weeks, his channel had been growing. His videos were getting more traction. He was starting to believe in himself. And then, out of nowhere, it all stopped. Views dropped. His latest video barely cracked 100. The algorithm wasn't pushing his content anymore. Doubt crept back in. Maybe this was a fluke. Maybe I'm not actually helping anyone. Frustrated, he turned passion-struck again, flipping to a chapter on setbacks. Challenges aren't obstacles. They're tests. The universe is asking, how bad do you really want this? He closed the book and exhaled. How bad do I want this? The old Adam would have quit. He would have seen this as a sign to stop. But this Adam, he was different. He went back to the basics. He engaged more with his audience, replied to every comment, and asked people what they needed help with. Then he made a video titled, "I almost gave up, but here's why I didn't." It was raw, honest, and straight from the heart. And it went viral. Adam stared at the screen in disbelief. 50,000 views. His latest video had blown up. Not millions, not yet. But it was a wave. Comments flooded in. I was about to quit my dream. This video changed my mind. I really needed to hear this today. Thank you, man. You don't know me, but your words saved me from making a huge mistake. He felt his chest tighten. This wasn't just content anymore. This was impact. For years, he had chased the wrong things: money, titles, external validation. But now, he was making a difference in people's lives. And for the first time in years, he felt truly alive. With his momentum back, Adam threw himself into his work. He started reading more books, studying storytelling techniques, and refining his message. His videos became sharper. His blogs became deeper. And soon, the opportunities started coming. An email popped into his inbox one morning. Hey, Adam, I run a podcast on personal growth. Your story is inspiring. Would love to have you as a guest. A podcast? Him? His first instinct was to say no. Who am I to be giving advice? Then he remembered something from Passion Struck. Imposter syndrome isn't a sign you're unqualified. It's proof you're stepping into a bigger version of yourself. So he said yes. The interview went live a week later, and something incredible happened. A small coaching company reached out. They wanted to collaborate. Then a brand approached him with a sponsorship offer. His side project, something that had started as a desperate attempt to escape his own struggles, was turning into a career. Then, just when everything seemed perfect, disaster struck. A YouTube copyright strike. One of his videos had accidentally used background music that wasn't cleared. His channel was temporarily demonetized. Panic set in. All his progress, all the hard work, was it all about to crumble? His first reaction was to shut down, to disappear. But then, he opened Passion Struck to a section he had bookmarked long ago. When you hit a wall, you have two choices: break through or turn back. Your response will define you. Adam took a deep breath. He wasn't that same lost man anymore. He filed an appeal. He adjusted his content. He adapted. And within weeks, his channel was back, stronger than ever. The copyright strike had shaken him, but it didn't break him. If anything, it made him stronger. Adam realized something crucial. He had been relying too much on one platform. His success couldn't depend on an algorithm. So he expanded. He turned his blog into a full-fledged website. He started an email newsletter sharing weekly insights on overcoming fear, finding passion, and building a purpose-driven life. And then something unexpected happened. One of his subscribers replied to a newsletter. Hey, Adam, I love your content. Do you offer coaching? I'd love to work with you one-on-one. Coaching? He had never considered it. But why not? He had already been helping people for free in the comments and messages. He put together a simple offer, a 6-week coaching program designed to help people find clarity, take action, and overcome fear. He sent out an email. By the end of the day, 3 people signed up. It wasn't much, but it was proof. People weren't just watching him, they were investing in him. With new responsibilities came new pressure. His audience was growing, his business was forming. People depended on him. And for the first time, Adam felt something unexpected: burnout. He had gone from feeling lost to feeling overwhelmed. It was too much: coaching, content, learning, networking. And one night, staring at his laptop, he felt the old doubts creep back in. What if I can't handle this? What if I burn out and lose everything? He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and reached for Passion Struck. The chapter on balance and sustainability stood out. Success isn't just about pushing forward. It's about knowing when to pause, reflect, and realign. Adam realized he had been moving too fast. So he did something he hadn't done in months. He took a break. He stepped away for a few days, spent time in nature, and reconnected with himself. And when he came back, he was stronger than ever. 1 year after uploading his first video, Adam sat down to film again. But this time, things were different. He wasn't just a guy searching for purpose anymore. He had found it. A year ago, I was lost. I was unemployed, drowning in self-doubt, and convinced my best years were behind me. But then I picked up a book, Passion Struck, and it changed everything. If you're watching this and you feel stuck, I want you to know it's never too late to rewrite your story. You just have to take the first step. He smiled, hit upload, and closed his laptop. His journey wasn't over. But for the first time in his life, he knew exactly where he was headed. Adam's video resonated far beyond what he expected. Comments poured in from people all over the world. I needed this today. I'm stuck in a dead-end job, but I just ordered the book. It's time for a change. Your story gave me the push I needed to start my own thing. Thank you, Adam. Man, I feel like you're speaking directly to me. I've been waiting for a sign. Maybe this is it. And then an email landed in his inbox. It was from John R. Miles, the author of Passion Struck. Hey Adam, I came across your video and was incredibly moved by your journey. I love how you've applied the principles from my book to your own life and shared them with the world. I'd love to have you on my podcast to talk about your transformation. Let's connect. Adam's hands shook as he read the message. John R. Miles. The John R. Miles. The book that changed his life had now come full circle. A week later, Adam sat nervously in front of his webcam, waiting to be connected to the Passion Struck podcast recording. When John R. Miles appeared on the screen, he smiled warmly. Adam, I have to say, your story is inspiring. Tell me, what was the turning point for you? Adam took a deep breath. Honestly, it was when I realized that no one was coming to save me. For years, I waited for life to change on its own. I thought success would just happen. But reading Passion Struck made me see that it was always in my hands. I had to be intentional. I had to take action. And the moment I did, everything shifted. John nodded. That's exactly the message I wanted to share in my book, and you're living proof that it works. The interview lasted an hour. They talked about fear, imposter syndrome, failure, and success. And when the episode aired, Adam's life changed again. His inbox exploded with messages. More coaching requests, speaking invitations, collaboration offers. Adam Walker, once a lost and unemployed man, was now a recognized voice in the world of personal growth. And it all started with one book. Months passed, and Adam's platform grew beyond his wildest dreams. He launched an online course, published an ebook, hosted a live seminar in New York. And every day, new people found his story. One night, he sat in his apartment, the same apartment where his journey began, and reflected on everything that had happened. His past self would have never believed it. But the truth was simple. Passion isn't found, it's built, and purpose isn't a destination. It's a choice we make every single day. Adam smiled, closed his laptop, and got ready for tomorrow. Because tomorrow, he was stepping on stage to give his first TED Talk. And his opening line was already decided. A year ago, I was lost, but then I picked up a book. Adam's story isn't just his story. It's the story of everyone who has ever felt stuck. Maybe you're in a job you hate. Maybe you feel lost, unsure of your next step. Maybe you've been waiting for a sign, waiting for something to push you towards change. This is it. Change doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't come from waiting. It comes from a single decision, the decision to take control of your life. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you your purpose. But the good news, you don't need them to. Your passion, your purpose, your next chapter, it all starts with you. And just like Adam, your story is waiting to be written. So ask yourself, what's the first step you'll take today?